Hi everyone, it's Allyson from Quilt and Code, and we are in our Thursday Wander Lane series. And last week we finished a blocked heart for Valentine's Day and turned that into a little mug rug, and that has since disappeared. It's downstairs being used, and so I don't even have it for you to see. But today we are going to do the cutest little owls, and so that's what we're getting started with today. And so I hope you have something that you can drink beside me. I'm drinking a lovely cup of coffee in my musical mug today. And um, I'm really, really excited about this project. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. This lovely little cute owl applique, I have already actually appliqued. I wanted to focus today on turning this particular project into a wall hanging. So I have the anticipation of using this old dowel. It's an old dowel because what happened was these came off of rotary flags. And I had created a quilt. Actually, I created 3 or 4 of them. I can't even remember anymore, and ended up with a whole bunch of these dowels that I can use in other projects. And so that's what I'm going to use today for this project. I want to make a wall. It's going to be a hanging that I can put on the door to the shop. And so that's what we're doing today. I have been testing out, so in order to get to that whole wall hanging part of it, and because I do a lot of applique on my channel, I skipped the applique portion of this. And so all my pieces are already appliqued on. If you have interest in doing applique, I just few weeks ago did this wonderful little fox applique, and you can go back and look at the same steps happened for this that happened for this. So I use heat and bond fusible. I place my fabric wrong side to that fusible and cut out all my pieces, and I'm ready to go. And so all those techniques are in a live that was just a couple weeks ago. But if you look up most of my stuff, I use the heat and bond fusible technique for doing applique. And you also know that I just love applique. So applique is what I do. I used I used my sulky for this project. And so it is, in fact, I'm going to put it over here so you can see. It is an invisible thread. It's a sulky invisible, and it sort of got a fishing wire texture, fishing line texture. And so but it means that I can make mistakes. I can get this down really, really quickly. And so when I was doing this project last night, getting everything ready to go, when I decided, you know what, let's go on to the embellishment part of this project, then I went ahead and just got everything down. And I think I did it in about 20 minutes. If I don't have to change threads and I'm using this invisible thread, I can get this project done pretty quickly. All right, so the other thing that I noticed with this project was that had 3 different kinds of gray over here. It called for 4, like the picture had 4. I had 3 different kinds of gray that I started with, and then I decided I wanted to overlap them. And so really only used 2 different kinds of, 2 different colors of gray. I used this speckled gray, and then I used this darker gray here. And it gave me the contrast I wanted without having too much different texture in there with a fabric. And then I used 2 different color reds, but I really wanted them to mesh really well. And so that's why I chose these 2, is because they're a complementary type of gray. Hardest part was getting my feet, my talons stitched down. And that's when I went ahead and shortened my stitches and narrowed my stitches. The other thing that I did with this project that I haven't, I've been testing what I like best about different stabilizers, different, whether I should use starch, so today I did something, or yesterday I did something different. I used magic spray. I've really been loving this magic spray, using it on my long arm. And so I went ahead and used this spray and I wet it down twice and then ironed it really good. And that gave me a nice, I don't know, I'm gonna hold up both. This is not sprayed. And so you can sort of see how this is what I started with. And then this is what I'm trying to do them both the same. So you can sort of see how this is a little bit stiffer. Yeah, I know it's got the applique already on there, but you can see how this gave it a little bit more stiffness to it. And then when I went to do my stitching, it didn't pucker, it didn't anything. And so it gave me the quality of the starch without the smell that my husband hates. I mean, let's face it, that, you know, my husband is just like, what have you been doing in here? Smells like grandma. So yeah. So I just make sure I don't use that kind of perfume. And so this quilting spray is just phenomenal. On my long arm or on a quilting project, if you have extra fabric that you're trying to ease in and make work, this stuff is phenomenal. It just shrinks that stuff right up. And so I have had so much luck getting borders to mesh in and that type of thing with this quilting spray. So I have found this to be wonderful. And now that it gives me the same quality as the starch without the smell, I think I may have found my choice alternative. So it is considered a crafting spray, quilting and crafting spray. It does not give me the thickness or the, I'm not sure how to say, it doesn't give me that feel of starch, but it definitely did what I wanted it to do. Okay, so it gave me the quality that I wanted. So I think I'm sold. I think this is where I'm going to go. So that was my experiment this week, was using the magic quilting spray to see if I liked that any better than I like the starch. I know I do not like using a tearaway underneath it. It makes it too stiff, makes it hard to work with, it makes it feel icky. I decided that is not the way I want to go. I have yet to try doing something like a lightweight interfacing. I think I've done that in the past. And so that might be my next experiment. All right, so I am going to start by showing how my eyes, so when I was doing the author, Nancy Howerson, gives a wonderful project sheet of how you're going to lay everything out. And then you've got your eyes here. I kind of freehanded that. I do a lot of freehanding when I do my stuff. And I wanted to make sure everything would line up with the other eyes. So I'm going to stick this right here and show you how I did that. So I had my ruler, and I lined up the ruler with the side of my piece. And then what I did is you can actually see how with this is a friction pen, so it will go away with heat. I use my friction pen to sort of mark where the bottom of my eyeballs were. So, or the blue of my eyes. Okay, so I wanted to know where the blue of my eyes was going to be. And so I marked, that's what these marks right there are. And so I knew that's where I kind of wanted my eyelashes to come down to. And then I went up a little bit further, knowing where I was going to put my eyes, and again, lined up, and they're a little bit higher, well, lower than I think I anticipated. But you can see that's where I put my line. Okay, so I put my line and then I had my lashes. And so that's how I sort of gave myself my perspective of where I wanted to put my pieces. Okay, then I've gone ahead and I've done one eyeball. I have absolutely loved these little gems. I mean, my mom, I almost was going to just cut out black and just do black for my eyeballs, but you know, I really do like 3D. So my mom looked through all the button boxes. And of course, these little gems are the only ones that were like popping out at me. And you'll notice that that's what I use my fox eyes and nose for. And so I'm going to start running low on those little guys because I'm using them on eyes for everything. So I'm going to have to start thinking about my next. I'm either going to have to find some more or I'm going to have to come up with something different because I keep using them. All right, so I want to start by showing you the hand stitches that I did for my eyelashes. I am using DMC Floss Black. I'm using 2 strands, and I've gone ahead and I've knotted it. And my mom's not here, so she can't tell me whether I'm doing a back stitch or if I'm doing so if you are in the comments and you know what stitch this is, it's a different stitch than what I've done before. I think it's a back stitch. And so what I'm gonna do, it's different than what I've done before. I usually do the other one. And so I was gonna try a different stitch. I'm new to doing hand sewing in my projects. And so all of this is very new to me, but I love how they're starting to really take shape and start looking nice. And so it's possible. I don't do this every day. I only do it for lives usually. And so, and little things. And so it's not something I do every day, although we do have a class coming up on March 7th that is going to be a stitch and brew. I think it's the stitch and brew. And we're going to be doing hand stitching using a bare roots panel. And that's going to be a continuing class. And I'm considering doing that online just because we're going to be able to learn all sorts of flowers and leaves. And I can't wait. So I love learning new things and doing embellishment. Okay. So what I did, so I already have my marking here, and you can see that my marking is like all over the place. I wanted it a little bit more curvy, and so I'm going to ignore this bottom line and go with the curvier line. I am going to come up on this line right here, and I don't know if I'm in the camera, so I'm going to move this over a little bit so I can have it closer to me. I have it knotted already, and I'm going to come up, and if it's not right on the line, we're just going to go with it because I'm live and nothing's going to be perfect. So I am going, I don't know, 1 millimeter maybe down. And as I have been doing this, I've noticed that my stitches have become much more consistent. And now I'm coming in right here. It really doesn't take that long. It's really cool. I'm going to go a little bit further out. And so my mom is so funny. She was up here earlier and she goes, I never thought you'd be a hand stitcher. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to get the look that I want. Oh, I didn't tell you what I was doing. Okay. So I came up and then I'm going straight into this hole where I had gone in before. And then that's why I think this one is called the back stitch because I'm going back. And so now I'm going to come up right over here. Anyway, so mom was so funny. She's like, I can't believe you're becoming, I'm like, this is what I have to do to get the look I want. And now I'm going to go straight into there. And you can see that one was probably a little wider than I wanted. But one of the things I have learned as I'm doing this is that I need to be very careful about not pulling too tight on my stitches. If I pull too tight, then everything looks like it is rough and the fabric gets distorted. And so I'm learning to relax and just pull the fabric and let it do its own thing. I will move this away. Good. Excellent. Okay, so I got one more here. Oh, wait a minute. I wanted it more curly. So there we go. I can't wait to see what it looks like. It's probably going to be a terrible once I take and remove all the lines. That's all right. Okay, and then I'm going to come up here to my lashes. Oh yeah, it is like, I kind of wanted it over there, but that's all right. So this eyelash is just going to be funky. Don't we all have funky eyelashes? So it doesn't really matter, right? We all have funky eyelashes. And so I'm just doing one long eyelash. They're like my son Derek's eyelashes. He has the longest, coolest eyelashes. And then when I get done with this, I can simply iron it and the black will go away. And I will have perfect little eyelashes that might be a little wonky in places. And that just means that it's handmade. I had a wonderful friend named Karen. She was from Florida. And so she went back to Florida. So I haven't been able to see her in a long time. But Karen would always be like, if it doesn't have mistakes, then it's not handmade. And, you know, she was very big on the, it has to have mistakes. And if I'm on live, you know, then it's going to have mistakes because half the time I'm in a position in which I'm trying to let you guys see what I'm doing. And I can't see what I'm doing myself. So it's hard. There we go. So that didn't take long at all. And then I'm going to come back here and I'm going to loop around here once, and then I'm going to come in here and knot it. Uh-huh. So she thinks it would be a modified hem stitch. A modified hem stitch. Interesting. See, I don't know what I'm doing. I just know the look I want, and I'm just going to go for it. And you know, if I mess up, then I can take a seam ripper and I can fix that mess up and do it all over again. Or I can say, who cares? It's mine. All right, I'm going to bring out my iron because I want to show you how it looks once we get rid of those marks. Look at that. I didn't do so bad. Okay, so one side has longer eyelashes than the other. That probably would have been eliminated had I done both at the same time. It's amazing how when you just step away from something, how coming back, things just change and your perspective changes and that type of thing. Am I going to change this? Absolutely not. I am new at hand stitching and I'm going to let this stand. So I think it's adorable. And from a distance, who cares? If you're looking that close, then you shouldn't be that close to my project. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to add that little eye right there. And I like to do this part first because this part has he's sort of a little bit 3D, and I don't want to have to fight the 3D elements. Those I usually try to put on as last as possible. All right, I am going to come up from the bottom. So I got to figure out where I'm coming up. I think I'm going to go up just a little bit. I want to go where my eye is going to be, and I know you can't see that. All right, and then I got to put my glasses back on so I can make sure I know what I'm doing. And then with these, I have found that if I go up the center, put my little bead on, and then go around my bead in like 4 different directions and try and come in as close to that center as possible, that's been giving me the best results. Okay, so I caught the knot there, so I'm gonna go like that. Okay, and so now I'm gonna do my best to come up in the center of my bead. Nope, that wasn't it. Oh, he's a little wonky. Come over here. Turn that way. Oh, anyway, this is gonna be the cutest owls. I think that the character of the wonkiness just sort of gives them a little bit more. Oh, come on. I go this way. I can't see anything. I'm coming up like all over the place. It's amazing how when the light changes that your perspective changes. Okay, so I have one loop going that way. So I am going to come over here and do a loop right here, trying to get on the opposite side so the little guy won't move. The little eye won't move anymore. There we go. Should get easier because the thing, I say it should get easier and then it goes all over the place. Okay. It's almost like I went in the same exact place. Alrighty. I'm going to go on the completely opposite side this time. I think it took me like a minute to put this eye in on the other side earlier. So we're going on the opposite side, hopefully. There we go. That will hold you down. Okay, one more. Just give me one more. There it goes. There it goes. All right, cool. And I'm gonna come in over here on the other side. Excellent. Okay, and then I'm just gonna go right in here and knot this off. Whoops. There we go. Okay, I don't have much thread left. So when that happens, I cheat. I mean, I have 2 strands here, so I can just make a knot. And so with my mom on there, I have no idea if this is an appropriate way to do it, but it holds the thing in place. So I'm so totally not worried about it. All right. Right? Okay. That one was like more difficult than usual. Okay, cool. So I am going to give this a little bit of, so you're gonna go over here, little guys and girls. And I am going to add a little bit of fusible fleece to this, just to give this a little bit of not floppiness. We want it to be able to hang pretty flat when it's hanging from, I have this goal that I'm gonna hang it from the window. And so I want to make sure that that's gonna stay in place. I need to knock this up. So I am adding the fusible fleece. The fusible fleece has a gluey side and a soft side. You always want that gluey side to go to the wrong side of your fabric. And if you're gonna have too much hangover, then make sure you're using a drop cloth or a piece of parchment paper or something to save your iron, because that sticky stuff, you know, my mom is not always around to clean the irons. So we just wait until she comes back. So we're cruel. Mom's the one who cleans the irons in the shop. So we're trying to make it so that she doesn't have to do it often. But you know, fusibles, we use a lot of fusibles in our shop, so it just happens. I'm going to lose my needles if I don't put them back in here. There we go. I have noticed that when I'm fusing any type of fusible, that the corners are what take the longest to like get down. So, all right, I want to be able to hang this baby. So I have created a quilt sleeve. And this is the same type of technique that I would use to put on the back of a quilt. So the first thing I did was I measured how far it was going to go across. And I actually went ahead and did this the right length, because I'm getting ready to put this right sides together and turn this inside out. And I'm going to lose a ½ inch there. So all I did was take the same width. Okay, what is that width? I can tell you that. So that width of my project is ending up at 7½ inches. So I cut this as 7½ inches, and then I turned in a ½ inch. So I did this. I turned in a ½ inch and in a ½ inch, like that. And then I stitched right along there after I ironed. I ironed down, and I didn't pin or anything. I just finished it off so that it would look nice on the back. And now what I'm going to do is, with wrong sides together, this is how you do a quilt sleeve, okay? Wrong sides together, okay, just like that, okay? I'm going to stitch a ½ inch down. Boom, just like that. And I have like tested numerous times to make sure this little guy is going to go in there if I do this. So here we go. I'm going to pull out the sewing machine, and we are going to stitch that ½ inch. And I am doing it wrong sides together. That sounds weird. But quilt sleeves, you're going to see why this works. Quilt sleeves can do that. They can be wrong sides together. And you'll see in just a second why this works. So just hang on. makes it nice and easy. And it makes it really does make it nice and easy. Okay, so I am doing a 1/4 inch seam. I did, because that's a point of stress at the beginning and end, I did go backwards and forwards there.
So
Go ahead.
people don't happen to have, you know, hundreds of those little sticks lying around like we do after you did those quilts. What are some other options
You
for?
could definitely do a dowel. You could do, so I haven't figured out like how I'm going to hang it yet. So I think I'm just going to place some ribbon. I do have like some leftover, so I haven't figured that out yet. But it is just a little itty bitty dowel. So you could do something like that. Just about anything that will give you the hanging. Okay, so yay, it goes through. That's all I really wanted to know.
For those close by, if they come by, I'm sure
Oh
we'd be
my
glad to
gosh,
give them
right.
1 or 20. So
we have many. So yes, and then there are also metal ones that you can get. And so I will start thinking about, pricing those out. But yeah, if you need one, let me know. We have a few. And then the reason why I'm doing it this way is so that next month when we do the shamrock or whatever I decide to do, I haven't figured that out yet. I have lives for Thursdays and I don't know what next Thursday is going to be yet. I haven't figured it out yet. So this is reusable now. So I can, I only need one. So yes, if you need one, let us know. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I have this other product that is phenomenal. It is the Clover. It is the Clover pressing. These are pressing things. And so what I can do with my presser now is I can stick this in here and they are iron safe. Okay. And you can make all sorts of stuff. I got this because you can make bias binding to make awesome like branches and stuff for trees and that type of thing. And so that's why I got it. And I got the multiple sizes because I just thought that like I can use this in so many multiple ways. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use this thing and my iron, and I'm going to move it like that so that my piece is open. And then I'm just going to move this to one side and iron it. So now you can sort of get the idea of why I don't need to even turn this thing inside out. And then what I'm going to do is top stitch it on there. I mean, talk about lazy. Like, this is the laziest project ever. I think I knocked my heat down. That knocks it even down further. But you can see how this gets it in there. And then I don't have to worry about the whole, okay, I got to make sure that I've got, it's like I discovered these with my class with Catherine Zimmerman. And I went, where have these been all my life? So it never even occurred to me. And so we're going to start using these with all our bias bindings. With all our bindings for quilt sleeves. And we're going to, I have grand plans. Not only that, but I can use this for other projects. They have this, I can't wait. This might be what we do next week. I might do some more embellishments. I am dying to learn how to do this right here, these 3D loops. So I might be adding that to a project next week. So now what I have done is I have this nice and pressed, kind of. I turned the iron down. Oops. So it's heating up. It's going to get me a nice. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stick this right here onto my project. And I am going to make sure that when I push this through and it goes to hang, that it's not going to, I don't want that to be seen. I don't want the backing to be seen. Okay, so I'm coming down about that much and I am going to pin this in place. I don't care. I'm just centering it, really, guys. I'm going to go ahead and pin this in place and then I'm going to top stitch as close as I can get to the top and bottom of that. And then I'm done. My sleeve is done. And I am ready to stick this thing together. And we have our things. So you can see why I wanted to get all that applique out of the way. Yes, do you have a question? Awesome. Okay, so can't see the sewing machine. All right, I am stitching as close as I possibly can. In fact, I am going back to my normal center stitch, and I am gonna, because that way I can see better, and I'm gonna get my glasses, which are hiding over here, way over there. All right, and I am going to backwards and forwards a little bit, as close as I possibly can get to that edge. And then this stitch will be on the inside of the project, so you won't see this on the outside. So you want to kind of put this on before you put this together. All right, and then I'm going to go down the other side. I'm just eyeballing this. I don't have this on a setting or anything. I'm just watching where that needle's going. And then we're going to test again, just to make sure. That silly dowel is going to go in there. I didn't go backwards. Oops, now I'm off. There we go. Do I care? Not really, it's on the back. Okay, so now let's make sure that silly dowel will go through. Ta-da! Yay, okay, if at first you succeed, try not to act surprised. All right. The other way you could have done this was simply done, folded over and done it that way. There was no reason for me to make a sleeve at this point, but it looks nicer. All right, now I'm going to put this right sides together. And I am going to stitch all the way around, leaving a little opening here at the bottom to turn it inside out. And then we'll do a top stitch all the way around and it's done and I can hang it up.
So you don't have to bind it since you're turning it inside out.
I am turning it inside out. If I don't have to bind, that is a good day. Not that I don't mind binding, really I don't. But it's a better day if I don't have to. I'm looking for stuff that's instant gratification. Let's get this stuff done and on the wall. And some of my projects lately have been taking too long. And I'm like, if I'm going to do this for Valentine's Day, then it needs to get done today, or I won't have it up in time for Valentine's Day. So I'm going to start right here, go all the way around, and I am going to stick with a 3/8 of an inch seam. When I am doing this type of thing where I'm going to turn it inside out, I like to have a bigger seam than the 1/4 inch. And I knew that, and some of my applique right there did not go all the way to the edge. And so I was like, okay, well, you know what? It's okay. I'm going to be doing a stitch all the way around anyway, so I'll just make sure it's my 3/8 of an inch and I'll be fine. So I did think about that when I started. When I did my applique for that branch, I made my applique a little bit bigger, knowing that my project was a little bit wider and bigger than the project that was in the book. I used the applique completely from the book. I just made some tweaks to the branch to make sure that I would get what I needed. And I wish I had done that a few weeks ago on my, a few weeks ago. When I did my project way back in December with my, I did the cutest little notebook cover with the mistletoe crossing. And I did not make my branch big enough. So kind of felt hanging out there. And so this time I was particularly cognizant of the fact that I didn't want my branch hanging out there. And I'm feeling just to make sure that my little sleeve's in there and I'm good. Ouch! If you play with pins, you're going to get stuck.
So the 3/8 for you, for your seam allowance, that's just with the needle in the middle position and using the edge of the presser foot?
Yes, for me and this machine, that's what my 3/8 is I can use the edge of my presser foot and the needle in the center position. I do a lot of playing with that positioning of my needle to get the right seam allowance that I want. I have not been judging my corners well lately. I used to be able to get right to the 1/4 inch and right to the 3/8 inch. And lately it's been like, where was I going? Okay, before I turn this thing inside out, I want to double check that all my corners are good on both sides. All my edges are good on both sides. I mean, let's face it, guys. Sometimes things go off and go wonky and, you know, you didn't catch all the fabric or you didn't catch the corner or you didn't catch something or something just is off. And so it just happens. And so before I turn it inside out, now that I know all my corners and all my fabric has been grabbed, I am going to clip my corners. And I try to clip like, especially since I'm using this fusible interfacing, I sort of give it a bit of a arrow there just because it sort of seems to help get rid of all that bulk that you're going to experience when you go to turn it inside out. Whoops. Boom. These wonderful Kay Buckley scissors. Oh my gosh. It's like, where have you been all my life? Look at me clean up my mess. I'm so proud. And then when I go to turn stuff out, inside out, I try and go to the farthest most corner-ish, and I start there. And so I pull from there, and that just sort of helps. And then just be easy. Be easy. It'll come. It'll come. Just gotta take your time. There we go. Come on. You got this. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Oh my gosh, you're so cute. The eyebrow. I mean, like, the eyelashes, I'm like, they're just awesome. Too cute. Nancy, you are just awesome. And now I'm getting my finger in there. There are different ways you can do this. I'll show you another way in just a second if you just can't get those corners out. They look pretty good though. Oh, I better turn my iron back up. Oh, it's good. Okay. So you can also use a seam ripper very carefully and pull out some of that right there. Come back a little bit. Okay, gotcha. And so all I'm doing is just a little, it's just an easy, just gotta take your time. I have gone through my stitches before when using my seam ripper. I need to get a purple thing up here so I don't have to do that with the seam ripper. And this one looks pretty awesome right there. Ooh, you still are not. Come on, come on. There you go. My mother will spend all day long getting those corners perfect. Won't you, Mom? I'm not lying. Okay, now I'm gonna press it down really good. And then I can top stitch. Starting up here, I gotta stay out of the way of the little eyeballs. Sort of get rid of those wrinkles. And the nice thing about having that 3/8 of an inch seam allowance all the way around means that when I go to do my top stitching all the way around, no one will ever know. And I know that I will grab my bottom. And so there's no reason to do any hand stitching down there. It'll grab the bottom just fine. Okay, I'm gonna do a little top stitch all the way around, hang it up, and we are done. I gotta name them. They've got to have names because they're just too sweet and adorable. I really should be using like a light blue thread, but I don't happen to have any here. I don't know that it'll make that much of a difference, but if it were my project at home and I actually had all my threads sitting right there, then I probably would have. I'm going to move my needle all the way over. And I think I'm going to start there. And I don't even need, like, it pressed so well that I don't even need pins. If you need to hold that closed with pins, then put them in this direction so that you can just stick them out like that. Or pull them out like just like that. Okay, and I am not going to bother going backwards and forwards now. I'm going to do that when I get back. So I'm going to go all the way around. And so now I'm just going to go all the way around with a nice little top stitch. You're driving me crazy up here. You're going back here. Come on. Come on. There you go. It helps if you talk to it. How many of y'all talk to your projects? Everyone talks to their projects. The sewing machine works so much better if you talk nicely to it. Oh my God, this is so cute. Okay. Cuteness, cuteness, cuteness. Now that I am coming to the very end, I'm going to go backwards and forwards just a little bit. And that way I can cut really close to those threads. And then I bring out my little dowel. And now it's going to go up on the front window. I love it. I don't know how yet. It's going to go with a ribbon or it's going to go with a, I don't know how yet. But it is going up on the front window today. Thank you so much for joining me. I don't know what's going to happen next Thursday, but I do know what's happening on Monday. So our Monday live is going to start with our hanky challenge. Well, our hanky challenge has been going on. We're doing a notebook cover. So like, share, subscribe. Come back and see us on Monday, and on Thursday, we will be having another Nancy Halverson Wonderlane project. I don't know what it is yet, but it's going to be there. See you guys.